Oh goody, my test results from the doctor came in. Now I can finally see what's wrong with me. Mr. Chad Kamatako. After much rigorous and questionable testing, it is my honor and privilege to diagnose you with... Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Rhythm Heaven Fever is the third entry in Nintendo's Rhythm Heaven series. It was originally released for the Wii in Japan in 2011 under the name Minna no Rhythm Tengoku. Over there, it's for everyone, but here in the States, it's between me and my doctor. And in PAL regions... Stop! I don't think words can really describe how much I hate this title, unless those words happen to be, sweet mercy, I really hate the name Beat the Beat Rhythm Paradise. Now, this is a Wii-era game, and during that time, whether good or bad, everyone was prone to making games like... Thankfully, this game doesn't use motion controls at all, and only uses the Wii's pointer for menus and such. The previous game on the DS had a very unique and gimmicky control scheme with its stylus controls, but it worked so well because you can be very precise with a stylus on the screen. I just don't think the Wii Remote's motion capabilities are precise enough to work for a rhythm game like this. In fact, not only does it not use motion controls, but this game only uses 2 of the Wii Remote's buttons for every single game, just A and B, which is pretty impressive or terrifying depending on your outlook on life. Anyway, this game's split up into 50 rhythm minigames, and I'm going to be ranking them all on a scale of 1 to 10. Just keep in mind that this list is my opinion, not your opinion, so remember that if I give a game you like a low ranking, it's probably a personal attack or something. We open with Linus, Lucy, and Charlie Brown here telling us what this game's all about. I already know what this game's all about, so I'm furiously mashing my controller trying to skip it, but alas, they make us take the rhythm test. After that detour, we can play our first rhythm game, Hole in One. It's golf with a twist, the twist being that it's actually fun. And that you have to hit balls out of the air after a monkey throws them at you, with a considerable risk of shattering your kneecaps from this mandrill guy. Don't get me wrong, this is a superb way to introduce people to the game and get them used to the rhythm-based mechanics, it's just way too simple. The slow and repetitive gameplay can be somewhat forgiven because it's the first game, but it won't save it from a middling score. Screwbot Factory, on the other hand, does a bit of a better job at being engaging on subsequent plays, despite still being simple. Another game in Rhythm Heaven's beloved factory genre, this game has you screwing on the heads of these cute robots by holding down A and B at the same time. For the gray robots, you have to hold for 3 beats, and the white ones take 2. Very similar to Philbots from the previous game on DS, but I like this one better pretty much simply because the spinning is more satisfying to me. Again, it's a very simple game, but I think it works better than Hole in One because you have to both grab the robot with the correct timing and hold the buttons for the right amount of time based on the color of the robot. It's just a very solid game. In Seesaw, you jump up and down on a seesaw, which is just crazy, I never would have expected that. But the real star of the show here are these guys who just grunt incessantly. Press A as your guy hits the seesaw to stick the landing, and sometimes they jump to the intersection, which changes the rhythm a bit. This is a fun and intense game, but it keeps speeding up faster and faster to a point where it just makes me feel like I'm gonna have an anxiety attack. Double Date. You're on a first date with the girl of your dreams, just performing normal date activities, like bench sit weasel watch. But unfortunately, you're also on bodyguard duty, because apparently you're either at the most athletically inclined school in the country, or somebody who really effing hates weasels goes here. Press A to kick the balls away, and there are 3 different ones with different rhythms. The soccer ball bounces on the first beat, and you have to kick it on the next beat. The basketball bounces twice, and the football bounces 3 times. This game is just okay in my opinion. The concept is fun, but it's just slow and becomes uninteresting after a bit. We're at the first remix, and as this dapper monkey explains, it mixes up everything we've done so far. And yeah, it is a remix. I don't know. I don't really have anything to say other than that I like how it's all in one connected area, like how you can see this beach house from a bunch of different games. But it's fine for a first remix, just a little bit underwhelming. The next game, Forklifter, has you throw manners to the wayside and just stab directly into the table. That hand down yonder flicks orange bits at you and you have to skewer them in the same rhythm that they're flicked at you. That's it. It's basic. This is probably the weakest game so far, but the song is worthy of a foot tap or 2. We can go ahead and add another monkey game to the list with Tambourine. This is another one of those Simon Says type of games where you have to copy exactly what the monkey plays on his tambourine. Press A to shake the tambourine and A and B together to hit the tambourine. I used to really dislike this game, but it's kinda grown on me. The rhythms you have to copy are pretty interesting and they mix it up quite a bit, plus this monkey's just adorable. Wow, board meeting is stupid easy, they should spell it like this. The pigs spin in their chairs and you have to stop with the right timing determined by the others. I'm realizing now that this is essentially just the Clappy Trio from Rhythm Tengoku, except this time you sometimes have to stop in unison. Actually, I think I like Clappy Trio a little better because they did it first. This game is not engaging at all, but I have to say it's definitely the most productive meeting I've ever been a part of. The next game, Monkey Watch, is absolutely amazing. You play as the monkey on the clock hand, and you have to high-five each monkey as the clock ticks to the beat of the song. Not only that, but there are these pink monkeys that show up, and you have to high-five them on the offbeats, because they don't conform to societal norms. This already makes for a great game, but they add to it by obstructing your vision in clever ways to make you rely on the rhythm instead of the visual cues. Like when it zooms out completely to show the entire watch at once, or when this monkey in a hot air balloon floats by. Okay, that last one wasn't really that clever, but it is cute. Remix 2 is pretty solid. It's fast-paced and uses all the Row 2 games well. It's just a little too short for my tastes. Kinda like the time I'm gonna spend talking about it. Row 3 starts us off with working dough. You take control of 2 balls of dough in a factory. You press A to make the small one jump, and A and B together to make the big one jump, and the goal is to transport these whatchamacallits to the other side in what is possibly the most inefficient way possible. It boils down to copying the pattern shown to you by the doughy pair on the left, but you have to make sure to only hit the small ones with the small guy and the big ones with the big guy. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but I find this game a little boring. It's not bad per se, the patterns you have to copy are good and the concept is fine, I just never really care to come back to this one. I think it's a little too long, and the drab colors certainly don't do it any favors. But there are some cool details, like when Mr. Game & Watch hops into one of the balls to board his spaceship. What drugs were they on when they made this? Following that up is Built to Scale. Wait, haven't I already done this one? It's pretty similar in concept to the version from Rhythm Heaven DS, having to shoot the rod through the squares, but in this one the rod has to bounce back and forth until the squares are in the right spot, which is kinda similar to Polyrhythm from Tengoku, except you only control one of the bouncers, and you know, there's no polyrhythms. You just press A to bounce the rod up when it comes to you, and press A and B to fire it forward. It speeds up and slows down throughout the game to mess with your rhythm, but it never gets too crazy. This one is like a combination of Polyrhythm from Tengoku and Built to Scale from Rhythm Heaven DS, but it leaves out the best parts of those games. Air Rally follows a dog and a cat as they play badminton in their airplanes, which is definitely something rich people do. You have to press A to hit the birdie to the time of the music, but when the cat goes, you have to change up your timing. This game is just phenomenal. I love the energy of it, like when the cat goes super far away and the two of you just absolutely send the birdie back and forth. The timing mix-ups are great too, and it also changes from day to night, and clouds and snow block your vision to really test your skills. I love this one. By the way, these characters are named Baxter and Forthington. As dumb as that is, I still smile every time I think of it. Figure Fighter introduces us to the Muscle Doll, this pathetic-looking scrawn job, and you press A to turn him into a Giga Chad. You have to inflate him right when he punches the bag. If your timing is off, you get... That's what's kinda interesting about this game. Even though it feels like you're the one punching, you're not. He punches regardless of what you do. You have to do single jabs, fast 1-2 punches, slow 1-2 punches, and 3 punches, depending on what's called out, and it's really easy to get into the flow of things. I love the part where the lights flash and the crowd cheers with every punch you do. It's good stuff. Remix 3 is our first remix with lyrics in this game, and hey, the English version is actually really good. I don't completely understand the whole kitchen theme we've got going on here, but it's a solid remix. There's a lot of Figure Fighter sections, which is a game I like, but here they feel a bit repetitive. Plus I wish there was more Air Rally. It's alright, but is a bit carried by the music. Ringside. Only Rhythm Heaven would make a game about a wrestling interview instead of a wrestling match. It sounds really stupid, and get this, it is, but that's what makes it so great. I love the sheer absurdity of the concept and execution of this game. When the reporter asks, you have to answer with a grunt by pressing A. I really like how this is similar to real-life sports interviews, where 90% of the questions asked are utter nonsense.
Is that true?
What?
When she says,
Yo, you go, big guy.
press A twice and flex to confirm that you are in fact a big guy. And when the disembodied voice says, you just have to comply by pressing A and B to strike a pose. On top of the game being ridiculously funny, it's just plain fun, and the music is peak. I also like how sometimes after you post to the fans, it'll show the picture in a newspaper on the front page like this is groundbreaking stuff. Guys, wrestling's fake. Sticking with some good games, here's Packing Pests. Here, you take on the role of employee number 333-4-591032. Yes, that's his real name. At his soul-crushing job working for The Man at the Spider-Free Candy Factory. This implies that other candy isn't spider-free. You have to press A and B to catch the candy, and A to swat away those horrifyingly large spiders. It usually goes candy, then spider, then candy, then spider, and so on, but sometimes the game will say double up and you have to swat away 2 spiders. This is a fun one, and once again, the song is amazing. I really like the parts where all the other employees in the back sync up with you. It's so brief and you just see it out of the corner of your eye, and it makes you question if it actually just happened. Sometimes, the camera changes to show your character's face behind the cubicle, and he just looks at you with this smug face. What are you looking at? Micro Row has us delve into the microscopic realm, where apparently these guys have nothing better to do than swim around all day, the lazy bums. This one is super simple. Just press the A button every other beat to swim forward, and if you hear a bell, swim the next 3 beats. I'd argue that this game is too simple. There's not much to keep me coming back, though I do have to say these guys are pretty talented for creatures whose entire ecosystem I could obliterate with a leaf blower. Don't test me. The Wandering Samurai makes his triumphant return to real rhythm games after being relegated to an endless game last time. In Samurai Slice, you have to slice evil spirits. It's kinda this guy's whole deal. Press A to slice the red-eyed monsters, and hold A and B to do a whole bunch of slices to take out the barrage of green-eyed monsters. I think it's awesome how this game pops the story up in your face to distract you and block your vision. It's a nice touch. Also, towards the end where the lightning strikes with every swing of your sword is breathtaking. Remix 4 is such a good remix, and I don't think it's talked about enough. First of all, it starts off by telling me that there are roads a samurai must travel, and thanks, I really needed to hear that today. And second of all, 3 out of the 4 games here are stellar, and even Micro Row is used to great effect. The sprites are all redone to drive home the traditional Japanese theme, but I particularly like how in Ringside, the wrestler has his katana taped to his back. You can only see it if he does this particular pose, and I think it's a great little detail. Catch of the Day is boring, and this blue fish is a freak. It's all about pressing the A button at the right time according to each fish. The little orange guy taps the hook twice before biting, the yellow fish taps 3 times and then pauses before biting, and this blue fish is a freak. The best part of this game is when you get a superb rank and get to see the fisherwoman celebrating surrounded by hundreds of these things' corpses. I love Flipper Flop. You're this cute baby seal in a troop of other baby seals, and it's your sole mission to just flop around. You have to press A to flop back and forth to the beat of the song. You know I love these types of games. And when you hear 3 little clicks, you have to press A 3 times quickly. And you press A and B to roll over. The amount of times you have to roll over depends on what the guy in the parka says. All these mechanics come together so well, and it's a blast to juggle them all at once. Baby seals are the best. Exhibition Match is a masterclass in counting beats. From when the pitcher throws the ball behind the curtain, you have to count 4 beats and then swing on the 5th. This timing never changes, but the music and visuals do everything they can to try and screw you up. Sometimes the drum beat cuts out, or even all the music, but what's even worse is when the whole orchestra just goes ham and it's hard to concentrate. I think it's a really creative game, and their tricks with the music actually do work. Flockstep is- wait. Flockstep? Well, Lockstep is my favorite game in the whole series, so this one must be good. It is. It really is. You're one of these cute birds called the Hue Birds of Happiness, and you have to march in time with all the others by pressing A. And when you hear, you have to squat and jump in time. It's really engaging and fun, and the visuals are great with all the different colored birds coming in at the end. I especially love this part, though. Wild. Remix 5 is just, I guess. Music's pretty good, and I think the catch of the day sections here are more fun than in the actual game. I would say that it's completely and utterly adequate. Launch Party is one of the throwaway games for me. You have to launch the rockets at the correct time, but the numbers on the launch pad don't mean squat except for the normal rocket, which launches on the 4th beat when it hits 0. Makes sense. For the other 3 rockets, the timing is actually completely the same, even though they start at 5, 7, and 1. You always have to launch them on the 3rd beat. The most I can say about this one is that it's short, sweet, and garbage. Donk Donk. I don't even think I could describe this one if I tried. so I'll just show you. Got it? Good. Even though it was a nightmare for me to perfect this one, I think it's alright. First rhythm is just really hard for me to get down for some reason. It's weird. Another game that was hard for me to get a perfect rank on, in fact I think it was the very last one I got, Bossa Nova. This one also has you changing between two set rhythms like Donk Donk, but I find it more fun. I don't know if these guys are like Pikmin or something, but they sure love doing whatever this is, over and over, as the cloud ascends into the sky. And it's about this point in a perfect run where I say to the game, "Please stop, I'm begging you, let it end already!" Love rap. Come on, if you played this game before, you already know what I'm gonna say. It sucks. It's so bad. First off, this isn't rapping. This is an insult to rap and all music everywhere. They're just saying the same 4 phrases over and over. The timings are weird, and the all about you and faux shows just drill into my brain and rewire everything up there. I'm pretty sure I'm a sleeper agent now. Rap men, I owe you guys an apology. Considering Remix 6 uses a ton of love rap in it, it should be no surprise that it's the worst remix in the game. It's not just that though, they're also clowns! Disgusting! Remix 6 is slow and boring, and the song is nothing to write home about, let me tell ya. Considering the general high quality of the remixes in this game, this one brings a tear to the eye, and not a happy one. Ooh, people are not gonna be happy with me after this one, but I don't like Tap Troop, okay? I just don't. You have to tap to the beat with the A button, which is all fine and dandy, but then this off-screen lady says, "Ready?" And the tempo gets all weird and she keeps going, "Bum, bum, 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 bum." But I just can't deal with it. And it certainly doesn't help that whenever you mess up, the other guys look at you like you just broke wind at a funeral. Alright, I'm sorry, I can't help it. Shrimp Shuffle is an interesting one because it's a game I see absolutely no value in whatsoever. You're one of these shrimp and you have to press A to jump forward and A and B to jump backwards when you're cued to do so. I already find this kinda lame, but the biggest problem is that there's cues being thrown out every second of the song, like
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, ABC.
This isn't a Jackson 5 song, lady. It's just so unnecessary and stupid. Cheerleaders presents the question, what would happen if a whole gaggle of cheerleaders started chanting that you read a bunch of books in the library while you're studying for a big test? I'd probably jump out the window. Now, I know I just ripped at the Shrimp Shuffle for having non-stop cues, and while there are a lot of cues in this game to direct you on what to do, it works here because it's the cheerleaders saying them. It's kind of their whole thing to chant out stuff. Plus, I just don't find it nearly as annoying. Apart from all that, the game is really fun. You have to press A to flip your book around and hold A and B together to spin the book, releasing to open it. I really like all the different patterns you have to do, especially when one starts before the other finishes. It adds a bit of stress to it. Also, they have lockstep in their textbooks. I want to go to this school. Karate Man. Of course there was going to be one in this game, and let me just say, this is my absolute favorite iteration of the Karate Man game. The one in Tengoku was good, the one in DS was great, this one is just fantastic. And I already gave the one in DS a 10 out of 10, so you know what this one's getting. Obviously you press A to punch, but you also have to hold A and B to pull off a combo move, ending with a straight up shoryuken. Everything about this is perfect, it's fast paced and fun, and the music, oh the music! Even though the English version pales in comparison to the Japanese version, it's still good. I love how it's so fast and energetic, but the lyrics are so depressing, and it fits Karate Joe perfectly. He's a broken man, he's just a shattering storm. He's literally me, and I'll prove it to you. Baby. Now we're at Remix 7, which is a pretty good remix. Of course I love the Karate Joe sections, and his new outfit is immaculate. Unfortunately, the Shrimp Shuffle parts just really take me out of the flow. It's like they don't even belong there, and the whole song has to change to fit them in. And with that, we're at the credits. There's still more games to go, as usual. This is just where they like to put the credits, I guess. And just like in Rhythm Heaven DS, there's a new rhythm game to go along with the credits. Well, I say new game, but it's essentially the same as Nightwalk from Rhythm Tengoku, which means yes, you can die in this one. You still press A to jump along these boxes, but when there's two right next to each other, you have to hold A and B and release to do a roll and a high jump, which is a nice addition. The song is nice, and the Huberts of Happiness make a cameo too. It's still a really simple game, but I like the new stuff here. It's still not as good as Nightwalk 2, though. Now is the time where we take a step back and look at all the extra content this game has to offer. Just like the other games in the series, Rhythm Heaven Fever has rhythm toys and endless games. And as usual, the rhythm toys are lame. The endless games are where it gets better. First off, there's Mr. Upbeat, which is identical to the version from Rhythm Tengoku. After that, there's Wake Up Caller, where you're an alarm clock inside of a cuckoo clock, and you have to wake up the bird at the right time, so you have to count the beats to ring at the time the bird tells you. It's a neat idea, but there's so much downtime in between rounds that I just quit after like 3. Munchie Monk is a great one. You're just spitting eggs and peas into this guy's face. Gross, but it's really fun. And then there's Lady Cupid, where you play as like Palutena or something and shoot blocks. I don't like this one. But in the Japanese version, there's a different game instead of Mr. Upbeat, and it's definitely my favorite. Manzai. You're the guy on the left in this pair of funny birds doing a manzai routine, which is a type of Japanese comedy bit. Whenever the bird on the right says something, you have to respond by pressing the A button twice, but if he tweaks out like this, you have to slap him by pressing A and B. I guess this game wasn't brought over to the international releases because everything said in this game is a pun in Japanese, which wouldn't translate into other languages, but I'm sure they could have come up with new puns. And after you get a perfect rank on all 50 main rhythm games, you unlock the Endless Remix. I don't feel like doing that again right now on the English version, so I'm just going to show you on the Japanese version where I already did it. Plus, I like Manzai more than Mr. Upbeat anyway. One weird thing about the Endless Remix is that only 2 of the 5 games in here are from the Endless Games menu, being Munchie Monk and either Mr. Upbeat or Manzai depending on the version. It's definitely because Lady Cupid and Wake Up Caller wouldn't work in a remix, but I think it's weird they just introduced you to 3 games you've never seen before here. The 3 new games in question are Basket, Kairu Toby, and Chameleon, all of which are really simple, so I guess it doesn't require a tutorial anyway. I really like the Endless Remix idea and hope it returns in a future game. And on top of all that, Rhythm Heaven Fever has 4 extra games, all being taken from Rhythm Tengoku. The Clappy Trio, Sneaky Spirits, Power Calligraphy, and Tap Trial. I already talked about these games in my Rhythm Tengoku ranking video, so you can check that out if you want to know what I think of them, but I'm glad they're here. This game doesn't have anything like Drum Lesson or Guitar Lesson from the previous 2 games, but it does have 2-player rhythm games, which is why I'd like to introduce my special guest for today. It's me holding a second Wii remote. I don't have any friends. First of all, there is a 2-player rhythm toy, Rhythm Fighter, and this is by far the best one if you have someone else to play with you. But even better than that, there are 8 rhythm games that you can play with 2 people. Forklifter, Tambourine, Ringside, Micro Row, Flipper Flop, Launch Party, Tap Troop, and Karate Man. And they all play more or less the same as the 1-player versions, except sometimes there are these solo parts where only 1 player has to play. These are super cool additions to the game, but that's not all the 2-player action we've got here. There's also 2-player endless games. Starting off with Claptrap, each player controls 1 hand, and you have to stop the doll from getting karate chopped. Playing this by myself is basically playing the Megamix version. Next up is Mochi Pounding, where each player has to alternate hitting the mochi a certain amount of times within the time limit. There's Kung Fu Ball, where you have to hit the ball back and forth and breathe fire at the right time. Pirate Crew, where you have to row in time to prevent any pigs from falling overboard. This one is pretty fun to play by yourself because the left and right hands will have to play different rhythms at certain points. Also, if you lose all your pigs. And finally, Bossa Nova. This one's a no-brainer for a 2-player endless game, so I'm really glad it's here, but holy crap is it hard to play by yourself. Not only do you have to perform different rhythms with each hand, but the rhythm switches for both hands every so often. Honestly, it's really fun to play like this though, I might practice it more. And with that, we're finally through this game's extra content, so it's back to our regularly scheduled rhythm games, starting with Samurai Slice 2. This game takes the wandering samurai to his most dangerous destination yet. France. Other than that and the sick new drip, it plays pretty much the same as the first game. Man, if I thought Working Dough 1 got a little bit boring, Working Dough 2 outshines it in that respect. I seriously don't know what they were thinking with this one. Not only is the amount of orbs you have to bounce significantly less, but the patterns are a lot easier too. Most of the game you're only bouncing like 1 or 2 at a time. This one sucks. Built to Scale 2 is more of the same from the first one, but with a little more offbeat shenanigans. What else do you want me to say? Double Date 2 follows our lovely couple to their second date, on a farm this time, no doubt in witness protection. Unfortunately, the ever-persistent weasel killer also followed them here apparently, so you gotta kick more balls. Again, it's very similar to the first game, except there's a lot more footballs this time for added difficulty. And I do love how the sheep will catch the footballs here. It's still super slow though. Remix 8 takes style to the next level. All the games are in sepia tone and contained within these skewed photographs. It's so cool. Plus, it's fast-paced and has a really good song with lyrics. Plus, a little air rally and exhibition match are always appreciated too. Just overall a good time. Love Rap 2. Yeah, sure, don't give Air Rally a sequel. Or Flock Step. This one is even more abysmal than the first because they feel the need to punctuate every line with a faux show. And this part with the All About Yous makes me want to pull out my own teeth. Why did they do this? Cheerleaders 2 brings the cheerleaders to a museum this time and just kicks everything up a notch. It's faster, the different patterns overlap with each other more, and it's just great. One negative though is that this game has to shove Moai Doo-Up in my face. Not cool, guys. Hole-in-One 2 is like the true final form of Hole-in-One. It takes the original, makes it faster, and throws about 300% more balls in play. The monkey throws a bunch in a row, plus the mandrill throws a lot more too. It's just so much more fun this time around. Sure, it's still easy as piss, but I really like this one. Screwbot Factory 2, the lights go out in this one, now we're talking. I love the sheer amount of robots they throw at you here, and the lights changing sizes in the dark parts can be really disorienting, adding to the challenge. Just because it's so cool, I won't call OSHA this time, okay? I love Remix 9. I don't even care that it has Love Rap. In fact, I'd say it's actually used well here. I mean, as well as it can be. There's just so many games in this one. Hole-in-One, Forklifter, Tambourine, Cheerleaders, Karate Man, even a surprise ringside appearance, although it's just for one input. The song is great, the visuals are great, Karate Joe has a cat, even the board meeting parts are stellar, an all-around great remix. We're approaching the end now with just 5 more rhythm games left, starting with Figure Fighter 2. This game is so hype, with all the flashing lights, and the amount of punching bags you break is just comical. It's faster and there's a lot more offbeat jabs this time. It's a lot of fun. Micro Row 2 is an impressive improvement over the first one. It adds a new cue, this whistle, which means you have to press the A button twice quickly, and this new mechanic is used a ton in the game. It works so well into the gameplay that it turns an otherwise average game into something really engaging. Much like Micro Row 2, Packing Pest 2 adds a new cue. When the exclamation marks appear, it means the candy's coming in on the offbeat. Also, the normal rhythm is changed as well, with the spiders coming earlier after you catch the candy, which is honestly pretty jarring the first few times. But the enhanced gameplay and jazzy new music makes it all worth it. Karate Man 2. Need I go on? And at the end of it all is Remix 10, containing every single main rhythm game. It's an absolute classic. Even if you've never played Rhythm Heaven, you probably know this remix. In fact, I was watching someone play it on YouTube that made me want to try Rhythm Heaven in the first place. So suffice to say, this is my favorite remix in the whole series. I know, it's a basic choice, but I don't care, I love it. The song is a medley of all the other rhythm games' themes, and both the song and the gameplay flow perfectly from one game to the next. I could play this one over and over, and actually have done so on several occasions. Rhythm Heaven Fever is an amazing game, and might be my favorite in the series, although I find it a bit hard to decide because Megamix brought back almost all of these minigames plus a bunch of others. But anyway, I just mean to say that I love this game, and I could talk about it for ages. In fact, how long has it been? I knew that doctor was a quack.
You look lonely.